I retired early because of Pokémon cards. Most people hear that and think it's ridiculous. It's not because I got lucky. It's not because I stumbled onto a rare card at a garage sale and flipped it for a fortune. It's simply because I've spent 30 years learning how this market works, and then I used that knowledge to build something that replaced my income completely. Today, the numbers are going to speak for themselves. Phantasmal Flames, released November of 2025. As usual, pre-release hype drove wild prices the way it always does. The set came out, prices corrected about 2 weeks later, and once the dust settled, the market found its floor on that set. Inside Phantasmal Flames is the best Charizard ever made, period. It's not even up for debate. And 2 weeks after release, that card was sitting around $450. The community didn't even notice. Content creators had already moved on to the next release. The hype was gone, and most people with it. That card now sits at roughly $900 raw, a 100% return in roughly 6 months. You doubled your money owning a single card while the rest of the community was chasing whatever shiny object dropped next. That's not luck. That's not inside information. That's a framework applied correctly with the patience to let it work. Most people hear Pokemon cards and think one of two things. They think a childhood hobby they left behind 20 years ago, or they think of a guy sleeping outside a Target trying to flip a booster box. Neither of those things is what I am talking about. What I am talking about is a legitimate alternative investment market that has quietly produced some of the most extraordinary returns of any asset class in the last decade. Returns that in many cases have outperformed real estate, the stock market, and traditional collectibles by a significant margin. And a market that most serious investors don't even realize exists. The Mega Gengar from Ascended Heroes is another example. It dropped January 30th, 2026. Within a couple of weeks, as sets always do, it found its floor. The Gengar settled roughly around $800 raw. The hype faded, and the community moved on to the next shiny object. Since that floor, the card has been on a steady climb without a single significant pullback. Today it's sitting around $1,400 raw. That's a 75% return in roughly 4.5 months. Two examples, two completely different sets, same framework, same result, every single time. Now, I wasn't always an investor. I was a collector. 30 years ago, I was a kid when I started in the hobby. Just like every other kid, I was buying packs, chasing cards, loving playing the game. And for a long time, that is all that it was, a hobby, something I did for fun with money that I could afford to spend. But then the market changed and I had a choice to make. I could keep collecting, keep opening packs, keep chasing that emotional high of the pull, and keep spending money in a market that had fundamentally transformed around me without my permission. Or I could adapt. I adapted. And the data kept proving why that decision has been right all along. The Pikachu from Ascended Heroes, that settled around $475 after release. Today, it sits at $1,375. That's a 189% return on a single card from the same set as the Gengar and the same time frame. Nearly triple your money, while the community was busy arguing in comment sections about whether this set was even worth buying. The moment I stopped looking at Pokemon cards as something to collect and started looking at them as an asset class, everything changed. Not just my results, my entire relationship with the hobby changed. The decisions became clearer, the emotions came out of it, the data moved to the front, and the feelings moved to the back where they belong. And the returns followed. The returns didn't just come from singles either. You don't need to learn every card or master the ins and outs of artwork and illustrators to make serious money in this market. The Charizard UPC, another example. This set dropped November 14th, 2025. As the community always does, they spent 3 weeks arguing about whether the set was even worth purchasing. And just like singles, the product settled in a few weeks at around $140. Today, it sits at $220. That's a 47% return on a sealed product while the community was too busy arguing and chasing the next shiny object. And as usual, they failed to notice what was sitting right in front of them. That set was always a buy. It has the main chase of the entire set and a promo with great art. The framework said buy it. The data said buy it. and the people who listened are up 47%, while everyone else missed it completely. Let me explain how this market actually works for people in this audience who have never thought about Pokémon as an investment. The Pokémon TCG is a 30-year-old market with a finite and continuously shrinking supply of sealed product, and at the same time has an ever-expanding base of global demand. Every year, new collectors enter this hobby. Every year, the population of people who grew up with the Pokémon gets older and more financially established, and they start returning to the hobby with adult money. Every year, the supply of cards they want gets smaller. It doesn't matter how much the Pokémon company prints. They can print 2 times the amount of cards next year, and it will still not meet the demand. Copies get lost, they get damaged, they get permanently locked away in collections. There is never enough supply to meet demand. That is the most basic supply and demand dynamic that exists. Growing demand meeting shrinking supply. In any market, that equation produces one outcome over time, every single time: rising prices. The Umbreon from Prismatic Evolutions is a perfect example of exactly what that looks like in practice. This is a Grail card sitting at roughly $1,200 raw and over $6,000 in a PSA 10. That card lives inside a set where you can still buy ETBs right now for around $150. That discrepancy should not exist. And the reason it does is the same reason every opportunity in this market exists. The community is busy chasing the next shiny object and walking right past what is sitting in front of them. Umbreon has given investors multiple entry opportunities. After the set released in 2025, the card settled around $900 later on that year. By November, it had climbed to $1,200. Then it dipped back down to around $800 in February of this year. Today, it's $1,600 raw. Several different entry points on a single card from a set that is still available at a relatively low entry price. The community is still out there coming up with excuses not to buy it based off of horrible information. That is this market. That is the opportunity, and it repeats itself over and over again for anyone who's willing to pay attention. What separates the Pokémon TCG from most other collectible markets is a knowledge gap. The average person buying and selling in this market is making decisions based on emotion, hype, and broken pricing tools. They are buying what they love instead of what the data supports. They're selling at the bottom because a YouTuber scared them. They're chasing new releases while the real money sits in sets they're walking right past every single day. The Bubble Mew, another example. One of these recently sold for over $200,000. That's a card that was available raw at card shows and online for roughly $100 for quite some time. The hobby basically ignored it. Everyone's too busy, as always, searching for the next shiny object, and that card was sitting right in front of everybody. The people who grabbed that card raw in 2024 for roughly $100 are sitting on a card that today is roughly $900 raw. That's a 900% return. That same card in a PSA 10 is $3,700. From $100 to $900, while the community just looks the other way. That's not a lucky story. That's what happens when you stop chasing and start paying attention. The knowledge gap is the opportunity. Every market rewards the informed participant at the expense of the uninformed one. The Pokémon TCG is no different. The difference is that in this market, the uninformed participants are everywhere, and the informed ones are very, very rare. I built my knowledge over 30 years. I tracked markets. I studied population reports. I learned how to read actual sold data versus relying on platforms that lag the real market by days or weeks. I developed a framework for identifying Grail cards before the broader market catches up to them. I learned the difference between hype and genuine value, and I learned how to wait it out when everyone else around me ran to the brand new set. Then I just deployed my capital systematically using a framework. Not all at once, not recklessly, with discipline and patience and a defined budget that I never violated no matter how good an opportunity looked at the moment. The results of that discipline compounded, slowly at first, then faster, and then faster than I could have ever expected. The cards that I've identified as undervalued appreciate exactly the way the framework predicts that they would. The sealed product I acquire at the right prices grows at a rate that would embarrass most traditional investment portfolios. The graded cards that I bought raw and submitted at the right moment multiplied in value in ways that are insane to explain. And to show you how far back this goes, you can look at the Umbreon from Evolving Skies. That card sat around $200 for almost an entire year back in 2021. The community slept on it. The hype was elsewhere. Nobody pays attention. Today, that card is $2,000, and a PSA 10, it's $4,500. A $200 card that anyone could have bought in 2021 is now $4,500 in a 10. And the reason everyone missed it is the same reason they miss every single opportunity in this market with every single set. Too many emotions, too much hype, and too much noise drowning out the data. This market is laughable for the informed participant and heartbreaking for everyone else. And then the day came. I looked at what I was doing and realized I don't need to work for anyone else ever again. That's not a flex. It's not a brag. It's the inevitable outcome of 30 years of treating this market seriously while everyone else around me still treats it like a hobby. But let's be real. The path was not a straight one. It wasn't easy. And there were moments along the way where I questioned everything. There were years where I made mistakes, where I bought into hype I should have ignored, where I held cards too long because I liked them, where I let emotion override the data, and I paid the price for it every single time. Those losses, that was tuition. And those lessons learned, they were worth every single dollar. The thing no one tells you about building wealth in an alternative asset class is the knowledge doesn't come from watching. It doesn't come from consuming content. It comes from participating, from making decisions with real money on the line and living with the outcome, from tracking your wins and your losses with the same forensic accountability that anyone does while investing in anything. Most people in this hobby are never going to get there. They're just going to watch. They're going to watch pack rips, rip and ships, silly nonsense on YouTube. They're consumers. They're going to follow hype cycles up and down and wonder why they never make any money. They mistake activity for progress and entertainment for education. I stopped collecting because collecting at these prices isn't a hobby. It's a financial decision made without financial framework. And financial decisions made without a framework always end the same way, losing money. And it happens every day in this hobby because 99% of its participants are still looking at it like a hobby. People get too emotional in this hobby. They get angry. They're angry at investors. They're angry at the people who got up early to get product. They're angry at scalpers. They're angry at dealers. They're angry at botters. And the reality is none of that anger matters to anyone. Not one single person from the other side of this market cares even slightly about how angry someone else is at what they're doing. And the bummer is that if that anger was directed correctly, it could generate 100% returns all year long. The same energy, the same passion, the same intensity pointed at research instead of resentment and data instead of drama. But people choose anger, and they keep trying to be collectors in a hobby that outgrew them a decade ago. Pokemon TCG isn't magic. It's not luck. It's not about who you know or whether you can get distribution or whether you're first in line at a card show. It's about knowing what you're looking at when everyone else is looking at the same thing and seeing something else. It could be a card sitting at $50 that the market ignores because it came from a set that wasn't hyped. It might be a sealed product that the data says will be 3 times its current price in 18 months. The opportunities exist right now. They're going to exist next month. They're going to exist next year. This market produces them consistently because the knowledge gap in this market is the biggest knowledge gap I've ever seen in my entire life in any market. 99% of this hobby refuses to see anything other than a hobby, and they're going to let their emotions destroy their financial future. I'm a shark living in a goldfish pond, and at times, it's so hilariously ridiculous, it makes me laugh on a daily basis. You should be laughing with me. Your bank account should be growing while everyone else is being angry at you in the comment sections. People's anger doesn't matter. Wake up and treat this hobby for what it is today. A serious investment market with real capital deployed by serious people. The goldfish are everywhere. The only question is, you going to be a goldfish or you want to be a shark? And I want to be very clear about something else. Every video on this channel is 100% free. Every piece of information I share is free. That will never change. But if you do find value in what I do here and you want to support my ability to keep producing this content, one of the best ways you can do that is by becoming a member over on Patreon. The members area gives you access to the private community, conference calls with myself and other members, and real-time market conversations that can't happen anywhere else because they are in real time. And if you're in a hurry and you want to fast-track all the information that I know instead of waiting for me to turn it into hundreds of videos, I wrote the #1 best-selling TCG investing guide ever written. 370 pages. Everything that is in that book is going to take me hundreds of videos to cover. And right now, if you purchase the ebook directly on my website, you also get a free month in the members area included. Again, all the information is free, but there are ways you can help me to keep producing it. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch. And if you found the video useful, please consider subscribing and leaving a comment down below. I read every single one of them. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.